Spider-Man No Way Home, directed by Jon Watts, the same director who directed Homecoming and Far From Home. He also directed Cop Car with Kevin Bacon and the film Clown, which was like a horror film, I believe, which was somewhat polarizing, but I think it did have a small fan base. But yeah, so this is the same guy who's been around with the franchise, with the trilogy since it started. And the film stars Tom Holland, Zendaya, Willem Dafoe, Benedict Cumberbatch, Jamie Foxx, Alfred Molina. I mean, come on, you know who's in this film. So in this film, Spider-Man basically deals with his identity being revealed as Peter Parker. So we get to see how he traverses these new challenges in this new life that he's pretty much been forced into. Alright, so what's up guys? I normally like to go in with organized thoughts when I do these reviews. I don't normally like to just go in cold turkey, random thoughts, unorganized all over the place. But I just came home fresh from seeing No Way Home. I really enjoyed it, and I think I'm pretty sure about what I want to say about this film. So just straight off the bat, this is what we wanted. For the most part, this is pretty much what we wanted from this movie. I think a lot of the expectations for this film is pretty much already sky high, and I would say that this movie exceeds a lot of those expectations. I mean, a lot of us are going into No Way Home with a lot of expectations that we ourselves have set for the film, and not things that really have been confirmed. And as far as I know, even the multiverse situation was not supposed to be revealed, but since it was leaked, they gave us that part. And then there are so many other things that still have to come across that people are still speculating about. But before I get too far ahead of myself, there are some things that I just want to go ahead and address that a lot of people, I'm sure, have been speculating about or curious about. There will be no spoilers in this review, but things like, has Tom Holland's Peter Parker finally gotten his struggles and his somewhat torture that people have wanting to force upon him, and just sort of see him go through some real turmoil the same way Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire has gone through their turmoil. And I will say, yes, he definitely deals with some very difficult situations in this film. We don't get to see the very super happy-go-lucky Peter Parker anymore. We actually really get to see him deal with issues in his life. So that's a huge plus with this film. Also, I think we get a lot more intimate with the character. Really all the characters. We get to see them from a different point of view, and even previous villains from other films, we get to see a new side of them. Just the fact that they brought back all of these characters and we get to sort of deep dive into sort of unfinished business really is pretty cool. There's just a lot of things that they went into that I am very happy about, because that's one thing I think Marvel is really great about, is taking a character and really just making us care for a villain. Normally we just know that we're supposed to hate the villain. We don't always really have to care what their point of view is or where they're coming from. But I will say that Marvel has really been pretty good at that for the most part, at getting the audience and the viewers to empathize with these characters, with these villains, and make us care about their struggles and what they're going through. And I think we get a lot of that wasn't quite successful in past films. With Electro, with Green Goblin, with Alfred Molina's character Doc Ock, with Sandman, we get a lot of these things that was sort of like missing pieces. And it's like, oh, okay, we just learn how to sympathize with them a lot more than we have in the past. Also, the humor in the film, like most all Marvel movies, the humor is definitely there. The action, oh my God, from the beginning of this movie all the way till the end, it was pretty much action packed. I mean, there were a few slow moments because, like I said, we have to get that turmoil with Tom Holland's Peter Parker that we've never gotten before. So of course the film has to slow down, and that has to seep in and marinate for the audience. But once it gets beyond that point in time, man, the action scenes are awesome. They're crazy. They're super cool. Getting to see, well, we've seen Spider-Man in these other spaces before because he's been in other movies like Endgame and the Avengers and stuff like that. But just seeing him traverse these multi-dimensional places, but also deal with previous villains at the same time, was just, I don't know, it was really super cool and nostalgic to see. And this film gets very nostalgic. Now, I don't know how much I want to spoil here. I really tend to stay away from spoilers, but I'm really trying to see if I want to have a section of this video where I actually talk about those things. Nah, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. If this video does really well, then I'll get into that stuff later, but I'm gonna stay away from that right now. I'll just conclude this review by saying that I think Tom Holland did a great job. The rest of the cast did awesome. Benedict Cumberbatch. A lot of the previous villains did even better than they did in the past in this movie, than they did in previous Spider-Man films, which is kind of crazy to think about. Also, I know some reviews have been talking about how there's just so much fan service in this film, which is a good thing. I don't really understand why that's looked at as a con for some critics. That's a great thing in this movie. The fact that there's fan service means that they're going to deliver on a lot of the things that the fans want. Who the hell else are you making the movies for? They're for us, they're for the fans. And it delivers. It definitely delivers in the fan service area. So I'm not going to really dig too deep into that because I've already said it will end up going into spoilers. And I'm just trying to steer clear of that right now since it's still basically pretty early. I mean, the movie's right around the corner, but I don't want to get too crazy. But for right now, I just want to say that I am giving Spider-Man No Way Home a 10 out of 10. I almost gave it a legendary 10 out of 10, which I've never given any movie yet. And it doesn't get that, but it gets close. But I'm giving Spider-Man No Way Home a 10 out of 10 for sure. Great film, always great cinematography, always great acting, great humor. The action, the fan service gives this movie a huge plus because they just, I don't know, it shows that they care. They gave the fans what they wanted. We got it. We got a lot of it. Even the things that we didn't really get in the movie, which I've already said in my straight out of theater reaction, even the things that aren't necessarily visualized or make an appearance or in the film, it's being acknowledged by the characters in the movie. I mean, I really have to say, I enjoyed myself so much while watching this film. There were moments, like I mentioned in my straight out of theater reaction already, there were moments where I was yelling in the theater. I was clapping, I almost shed a few tears a few times. Oh man, I was sitting down and I had to pee so bad and it hurt me to leave. But luckily I was told that I left during a good time in the film where there wasn't much going on. So got back in there, finished it. I mean, it was crazy. This is the most satisfying experience that I've had all year in a theater. I've never been so satisfied with a movie. I mean, you just watch a film and you're like, oh man, I hope that happens. It happens. All of those things happen. Like I said, for the most part, I can't speak for everyone, but just speaking for myself, everything I wanted from this movie, I left the theater just happy with a smile on my face. And I was really looking forward to doing this review and filming my straight out of theater reaction. So now you guys have all of that. Like I said, let me know what you think about me just shooting from the hip like this. I prefer to have organized thoughts, especially when it's a movie that gets really deep, which this movie really does. But I was just so excited about it. I just wanted to go ahead and get all of this information out. But anyway, keep working together, Sony and Marvel, because this whole collaboration, this relationship that you guys are building, it's working. Keep it going. But anyway, Spider-Man No Way Home comes out December 17th, only in theaters. There you have it. And if you enjoyed the content, you know what to do. Thank you for watching.